We've made a wrong turn, and we have ended up in a waxwork with 18 of the weirdest dioramas we've ever seen. And for some reason, I can't find Courtney. This is the Wrong Turn Podcast. Hey, Courtney.
Which one would I be in? I'm good. How are you?
Which one? I have a feeling. I have a feeling you'd end up in the Marquis de Sade. The sexiest diorama ever.
There's just the sex. I'd be like, oh, okay.
That was
I'm doing well. I mean, we've had quite the morning just trying to record here today, but we're here. How are you?
not bad, not bad. Been really busy, so I haven't been able to try to keep up with a million different things.
Ugh.
And then the baby too.
Right,
not
you're
bad, not
you're a
bad.
whole ass dad. It's like it's crazy because we love doing this. We love this podcast. We love watching horror, but yeah, it just feels sometimes when you're like, I can't keep up with everything. So you have to let some things kind of set it down for a little bit.
Yeah, it's yeah, yeah. That's what I've come to realize. There's certain things that I was trying to do, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe not right now, or have to put it away later. Put it away till later, and it's just annoying. Yeah.
So
But
I guess apologies, maybe we haven't been as consistent with this kind of content. I'm trying my best to make sure I'm posting things on the socials and stuff, but we both got full-time jobs and lives and relationships,
yeah,
all those things.
we only missed one episode, but we had one from a previous podcast that I ran with a friend that we I thought was pretty good. That I posted up, and we had my other friend guest starring on it for fun. And we talked about the lodge, and we talked about A Girl Walks Home at Night, which is funny though because this is before things were so much easier editing. So I remember editing this episode heavily and just taking out every ooh and ahs and shortening all the pauses manually. And I had never seen A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, and then have watched it since. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's a really good apt description of this movie. I'm like, they did a really good job describing this movie. Yeah, and I don't remember that conversation at all until I re-listened to that episode. But yeah, and I remember the conversation about the lodge. That one was a fun one. Yeah. So we might bring in some more people on just for fun, just for kicks, just to liven up a little bit.
Exactly.
That sounds like a good idea. But yeah, we only missed 1 week, so also we're allowed to take a break because,
yeah, absolutely.
like Courtney says, we got whole ass lives on the side of this. But Courtney, have we been watching anything lately?
Yeah, here and there. I've been perusing things, trying to get away from comfort stuff. I rewatched Barbarian because I'm really excited about Weapons.
Weapons looks
Fucking
fucked.
yes. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and watch Zach Kreger the Barbarian movie, and I was pleasantly reminded that it is a great film, but very unsettling from start to finish. It's a solid one.
It was refreshing watching it, and then doing the dive on it and getting really into it, and pretty sure after it came out, I watched it a few times, and I'm like, I'm good on it right now.
Yeah,
but it's a good one. It's enjoyable.
It's enjoyable for sure.
Yeah,
there's a few. Wait,
it looks like
what's up?
Trying to think of this movie. No. I'm trying to think of Weapons looks like a crossover between I don't know. I'm trying to think of another movie, but it's like a crossover between Max Kreger and Prisoners. If you remember that one where the kids go missing with Paul Dano and Wolverine. What's this guy's name? Hugh Jackman.
I don't know, but anyway, I just think that one looks great. I haven't seen Sinners yet, but I've been enjoying all of the content that I'm seeing around on the socials.
Let's go back. Let's go back a second. You haven't seen Prisoners?
Prisoners? I know.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Man, that one's tense. That one's
I was like, it doesn't ring up. You mentioned it, I was like, I feel like I've noticed it, but no, I've never seen it.
I think if I showed you a trailer, you'd be like, oh, this movie. It's one of those. It's one of those things where it's just maybe too real life horror, and it just crosses over with thriller, and it's stupid tense. It's stupid tense. But yes, I have also not watched Sinners, not yet, but it's doing amazing.
Yeah, no, it looked like I'm excited and I want to see it. I eventually will get around to it. What else? I really, really want to see The Ugly Stepsister. Have you heard of that one?
I just saw a poster for it today. I haven't heard of this one.
So it is like, I guess, loosely based on Cinderella because it has to do with that storyline. However, none of the characters are the name. Like, there isn't a character named Cinderella or anything, but it's that story. And it focuses on one of the stepsisters where she is trying so hard to be beautiful because she wants to win over the Prince Charming and wants to marry him. So she's competing not only with like the Cinderella character, the other ugly stepsister, and of course they have their evil stepmom. So it deals with a lot of body horror, which, you know, all of the substance we've had this past year. But I love body horror. We've talked about a lot of body horror movies on here. Like, I'm a big fan of Slither, like all of that. So I haven't been able to catch it in theaters. I'm waiting for it to pop up on like Amazon something so I can rent it, or even Apple TV so I can rent it. But that one looks so good. Like, I keep checking. When can I watch this?
The it's just one of those things with like body horror where it's just like in the substance where they pass this point of no return and you're just like, no, stop,
Mhm.
irreparable damage.
Yeah. Like, there's no turning back. Yeah, and in Ugly Stepsister, like, a lot of it also has to do with like the slipper and fitting a foot into said slipper and those kind of things.
Yeah. The poster kind of alluded into some stuff. I'm just like, ugh.
But yeah, I don't know what country it's from, but it's not in English. I mean, it might be in English. I don't know if it's an English speaking film actually, to be honest. But I know it's from origin is from a different country. It's not US made.
Legion.
Norwegian. There we go.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I'm trying to think of what I saw other than our assignment for this week was just like Waxwork and Waxwork II.
I
I don't think I
mean,
saw anything else.
just another side note, I didn't get a chance to go see Final Destination Bloodlines, even though you had some tickets for me, but like, you know, work schedule got crazy. But I have been enjoying all of the marketing for that movie. It has been
I
spot
just
on and well done, Final Destination team.
I just saw a thing with where they for Mother's Day they invited a bunch of moms for a free screening and they called it like they thought they were going to a rom com and it was called like Eyes Over the Ocean or something like that with like a fake poster. And then all they have is their reactions as they're watching
The
Bloodlines.
starting scene, like, wait, this isn't it.
Yeah, that was actually kind of fun. It's actually kind of fun. Like that is a prank I would pull on my mom, like
Yeah.
100%. It is. I'm surprised there weren't moms walking out. Like they're just like, I'm not watching this.
Well, I mean, I would assume that like the children were in on it and being like, I'm gonna prank my mom and we're actually gonna go see Final Destination Bloodline.
No fair. That's fair.
And so maybe they know their mom well enough to be like, ha ha ha, got you, mom. Like, happy Mother's Day. But like all of
Happy
the
Mother's Day.
trucks, they have actual trucks going around with like the fake logs on it.
That's
With
good.
and I was
I
like,
thought that was an old one.
I know, but like that's one of the most memorable Final Destination scenes. People
No, I
remember the
think like
log
the
truck.
decal was an old thing that somebody had made for their like a vinyl wrap somebody had made for their 16 week. I could be wrong, but because I feel like I'd seen it before this movie had come out. Yeah, yeah. I was like, I had to have watched something. I just can't remember right now. Yeah, other than that
That's
comfort thing,
cool.
like rewatching. Are You Afraid of the Dark? Maybe a little bit.
Yay, I
That's a good
love
comfort one all in the background. But like some of like the later seasons that I'm not too familiar with, and I'm like, this has no nostalgia for me. These are
exactly. You're
awful.
like, fuck this. Like, I guess it's fine, but it's not hitting. It's like when I watch old Goosebumps. Any of the newer Goosebumps, I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, even though I hear like the new one with
Schwimmer?
what's this gentleman's name? Yeah, with Schwammer
Schwarmer?
is pretty decent. Yeah, yeah,
I really do like David Schwimmer. I he's actually whenever I've seen him in other things besides Friends, I'm like, hey, dude can act.
yeah. We got the job for a reason, right? All right. Moving
I mean,
on.
I'm sure that's a
Today,
hard thing to shake being on Friends. Like,
well, it's like none of them needed work again, right? Like that's the thing. No, you shouldn't have to, but
they all
maybe
seem
get bored, you
well,
do
except
something.
for obviously R.I.P. Matthew Perry.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
That's a really
That's a
unfortunate.
bad one.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I just wanted to say, like, that's a really unfortunate situation. Need to catch that documentary
What?
or that whatever they had on him. But yes, let's move into Waxwork.
Yeah, from 1988, directed by Anthony Hickox of Hellraiser 3 fame.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like anybody who likes Waxwork had seen this when they were a child.
Yes.
It played like I feel like it played every weekend or on a lot of weekends for a lot of people, and a lot of people caught it on the Saturday after. That's when I caught it, and I had no idea he'd actually made a bunch of kind of like I don't know mid tier horror movies. Like he's got like a decent profile, Anthony Hickox. Like he has since passed away, unfortunately. I think like in his 50s. I'm gone too soon because he did Waxwork. He did Sundown the Vampire in Retreat, which I had never heard about till a few years ago, and I'm just I have no idea why that wasn't on my radar. Waxwork 2, Hellraiser 3, which again, I was like not the best Hellraiser movie, but much better than like half of the catalog. Warlock Armageddon, which I'm pretty sure I've seen, and like a bunch of other kind of like stuff, but like those first few years, Andy Hickox, like you were doing some stuff, and then he directed a bunch of other stuff ever since, some TV stuff. It doesn't seem like he played around with horror very much. But if Waxwork is an example of like his work, like he can pretty much do any genre
I agree.
because
Like, if you want
each
to
little
take
snippet of
Waxwork, and
work
then I did
is
watch
good.
Waxwork 2, which I'm kind of bummed out. I didn't realize how fun Waxwork 2 is, even though it has nothing to do with waxwork in a museum. Like you could completely jumps the plot into something completely different, even though you have the characters from the first one. But nonetheless,
Yeah, like maybe like before, like like tropes were no, tropes were a thing, but
that's
by
your
the
thing.
end of the 80s, it's just like it's instead of like, redoing the hashing out the same thing cuz you could have made 3 or 4 Waxwork films
Waxworks. Yeah. Oh, fuck
all with
yeah.
the same premise.
All
Yeah,
the same
where it
exact
was just like
premise. Kids going into a wax museum.
different dioramas
Yeah.
getting
Getting fucked up.
it would you know what? We would have been here for it. We would have loved it. We would have
Yeah.
been fine.
I'd have been like, I don't
Yeah,
care. Just give me
this
different,
whole
every single movie. Just give me some different, yeah, scenes. Give me some different epics. Like, where are we going? What
give me a tip.
world are
Yeah,
we jumping into?
you only need like maybe 3 or fucking A. That's why it only should be redone just to do that, just so they can
Yeah.
make a franchise and they just keep doing
Because it's
100%.
like with Waxwork 2, it's like, dude, you had a great idea. And then you just kind of went in a completely different direction, but took the same idea where you're like, we're going to world jump. I'm like, cool. But you could have just stayed in the wax museum. It's way
Yeah,
more
it's just
fun.
way more fun. I mean, it's kind of like with Freddy Krueger and Nightmare on Elm Street, where it's just like after a while, you just want to see the dreams and you just want to see how creative these kills get.
Yeah.
So we just want to see how creative these worlds get. And he kind of gave us that a little bit without. I mean, the I want to say like the first half of Waxwork 2 is really fun, and then we get to the whole like Cartagena, which
Yeah.
Cartada or
The fake
Cartaga
world.
plot line.
Yeah. The the world that doesn't exist, but like at the end of that movie, she's going back to the world that doesn't. I was like, we've lost the plot. Like with
I
Waxwork
love it.
2,
It's just
it
like
got like once you passed Bruce Campbell's bit, it was like you were kind of like, okay.
yeah, it's he. All right, so let's just go
But
back
like, I
before
mean, I know
let's
this
get
is
to
we're focusing mostly on Waxwork, but we did mention before in our last episode that we were going to watch the
oh
second one.
no, we can talk a lot about Waxwork too because I feel like Waxwork like the
Waxwork
things
is
about
a
Waxwork have already
gem.
been said, but
Waxwork is an
yeah, but then like
absolute
there's
gem.
so much to say about Waxwork 2 right now because
Yes,
I think it's a new movie for both of us.
it is.
Um,
But like, because we kind of touched on
all
Waxwork
right.
last on our last record, because like you just said, it was something that you caught like on a weekend. You're like, I'm pretty sure I caught it somewhere all the time. And I said the same thing. I was like, it took me a while to figure out what movie that was, but I remember it because my mom watched it. And I remember so specifically that vampire scene where they're eating the raw meat and the blood because Waxwork is campy, but the art direction is perfect. It is crafted well. each scene that you're jumping into, you believe it. And it's just a fun little thing to be in a museum and you just jump from world to world into different because we all been in a fucking science museum or a wax museum. Like it's
Yeah.
so cool.
It's just like each little cut or diorama was like a perfect snippet of the horror subgenre, and he did so well in each little snippet. It's to the point where, like, again, much like Waxwork 2, once we get to the whole big battle at the end of the movie, it loses its momentum because it's just like, like he's really good at these little snippets, and he's giving you like a taste of like what the zombie movie is like, what the vampire movie is like, and then you have this big war battle that is just a big mess with people in the worst old, like, I guess you couldn't find old men to like play in your battle, so you had to get a bunch of like your friends to get wigs, or like the crew to put on these fake mustaches and fake wigs and like run around. I was like, dude, this is like, this
It
is,
also
this
felt
is,
like
it's losing it a little bit.
he wanted to be like, hey, I want to fit in all these great classic movies that everyone loves, which I can appreciate and I can love because of course you have Nosferatu, you have Alien, you have The Haunting, you
Yeah, it's all
have
part two. Yeah.
what is it? Dawn of the Dead. You like Ripper. Like there's just so many things when you're going through it with all the movies. So we had Dawn of the Dead, there was Jack the Ripper. I already touched on Alien. And there was so many. Uh and it just felt and I get it and I loved it. Don't get me
And they're
wrong.
all
Like it was
good.
they're all good. But it was just like so many where he's like, we just have to keep jumping from scene to scene to scene so I can really prove that I can show all of these great like it I don't know. I appreciated it, don't get me
It,
wrong. I think
it
Waxwork 2 was a fun
seems like he had a
watch.
real love for which one?
I just
Part
think it
two?
was a fun watch. Like watching it for the first time, I was like, "Oh, ha ha ha!" Like,
Yeah, it was hard to find for a second. It took me a while. Then it popped up on Tubi. I don't know if it was always on Tubi. It was weird. Like I couldn't, like, nobody else had it for some reason. It was interesting. No, but it was just like it's a clear example that he had a very deep love of the genre. It's like one of those things where like you love something so much you want to do it so well. And then like towards the end of, all right, part one, like I said, it just completely, always thought it was like one of the worst things of the whole movie was the whole big fight scene at the end. Like it's just like, here, like, throw it all together. And every diorama that's like not a main diorama is so like poorly put together with like the worst like Spirit of Halloween masks I've ever seen. And it's just like, all right, we know where you put the money into. Like, you just threw the rest of it. We were just like, yeah, yeah, just add some glue to it. Like, yeah, it's
yeah.
fine. Yeah, it's an alien. It's fine. Like, what was it? There's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde scene
Yes.
in part one where it's just, that's just a monkey mask, man. Like,
Just a
and
monkey
what was the other
mask.
one? There was, yeah, there's some really, really interesting ones. But let's like break down this, all right, scenario, right? All right. So we have, what is it? Six high school friends that all seem like they're possibly in college get invited to a waxwork that is
Classic
hosted by
80s
David
though.
Warner.
You're like everyone's
Uh,
probably 28.
yeah, with Zach Gilligan and Deborah Foreman, who are our main protagonists, and not to mention that like Zach Gilligan had come off of Gremlin, so he's like known. He's like, you were in a Spielberg movie, like, right? Gremlin's a Spielberg, right?
Yeah,
Joint, right?
absolutely. Gremlins, yeah.
The so like he does have like that bit of boyish charm. That's what I was trying to figure out. Like, it's just his voice. I think it's just that, like, you might like be the size of a man, but you're like, you have that boyish charm to you. Is what I'm, so like, it makes him like a suitable protagonist, I think. The and I think the banter and the writing and the like with the friends is like amazing in the beginning of the movie. Like, their chemistry is so spot on. Like, I think it's one of the things that really worked well for the movie. Even though they're only together for like maybe like a total of like a minute on screen altogether.
Yeah. Because
So
they
then
immediately
they get
break
invited to
apart.
this. Yeah, I mean, as you do, I was like, oh, let's stick together, right?
Says no one in a horror movie. That never works out.
Yeah, yeah. What was it? So then the waxwork, the premise of the waxwork is that David Warner, the waxwork man, stole 18 artifacts from Zach Gilligan's grandfather's character, Mark. Lodmore or something like that, whatever. And he made a deal with the devil for 18 souls, and they will wreak havoc on the earth and will take over whatnot. But what are these 18 artifacts that like are never brought up from the 18 most evil people in the world? I'm like, that's
Yeah.
never explained. And then like,
Like,
so what? Like
you think, are they in
Dracula was a
each,
person?
are they each
Yeah.
diorama? Are they, like, you would think that, but like you said, they're never brought up. They're never shown to us. Like these cursed artifacts.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Which is just like cursed artifacts and you have to go hunting for them. That's a premise of like a few TV shows, actually.
Yeah. We've heard that one before.
Yeah, like it might as well be an X Files episode, but like, what was it? The original Friday the 13th series was basically that, was an antique shop. You ever watch that one?
Not the series, no.
Yeah, it was everybody was really confused because it had nothing to do with Jason. It was like, yeah, early 90s, and it was like these kids and this old man, and it was an antique shop, and it was just these cursed objects, and each episode was just like a different thing, very X-Files. So it was Warehouse 13, like on like early 2000, was basically the same thing, with cursed artifacts, or like weird things, even like aliens and stuff. And they had to, each episode was its own like little, what's it, anthology, episodic episode, whatever, open and close shut case. Yeah. What the like? So what the where? Because they're like 18 of the most evil people. So what? The werewolf was a person. I don't like
Yeah,
this deep plot. Not making a whole lot of sense. But we're not here for that.
exactly. You kind of get to move past like that plot hole, and you're just like, because you just get lost in when they start adventuring into the
The
waxworks,
wacky.
and then you're watching their adventures. Well, their deaths, their demise. I don't know so much adventures. That's more of the second one.
So all right. So in the first one only gives us the Wolfman.
Mhm.
Super good, so good, with John Rhys Davies and Dana Ashbrook as the kid. I'm just like, it's because like the whole like he's aware that he's in a wax, or like the whole meta aspect where he knows that he's just like, something's not right here. I must be tripping balls. Like this is a really nice touch to it. Like he doesn't believe he's in it. Um, but it just the wolf costume. It's just a nice little snippet. Dracula one is also so classic, and it's such a good.
It's just
It's such a
fantastically
good.
done. Like art department, everything, costume, the campy acting. The vampire one is what sticks out to me the most out of the entire one. Like the entire movie is that.
The like, just setting it up. I'm sorry, like I want to riff on this and like, but just to gush over like a white room, and then you have to kill all these vampires with blood going everywhere. Like it's spectacular.
It is. It's good. It's yeah. No notes. Like it's just so good.
These then after that, what do we run into? We run into, oh, the Mummy,
Mummy.
which was a really good version of like what a scary mummy could be like.
Yes.
Like
I agree.
this zombie that you can't get rid of, and like, and that is stupidly, insanely strong.
Those are the main ones though. Like kind of
So the Marquis de Sade one is really weird. It's just like, Anthony
the
Hitchcock's, you're
marquee,
a
like
horny
the
dude all
yeah, the
the time.
sexy one.
Like it got really weird. It really lost. Like you really wanted to show this part.
Yeah, like
Apparently,
that's
he
how I
had
felt
like,
too. I was like, we really pushed for this, didn't we?
yeah, like really, like this is the thing.
Yeah.
Like you had a really good momentum going on, right? I
You
wanted to
you
know
could
what
have
was the thing you gave up to do this
yes, like
part.
we were like, no, we have to do the sexy one. Like, okay, like over and over again, like we have to. Like there was just you went from we had werewolf, vampire, mummy, zombie. Yeah. Like it's whatever. It's still
And
great.
it's it, and there was there were so many good snippets of other ones that were like in the background that like I really want to jump into those.
Yeah,
Like
that's so fun about this.
the pod people, oh, that would have been so good.
Yeah.
The I don't know if you noticed the Invisible Man one. Did you notice the Invisible Man one and like how it was displayed?
No, maybe I
The
missed that
Invisible
one.
Man one is creepy. The Invisible Man one has the Invisible Man feeding a tube that's hooked up to a car to the victim to like just like inhale carbon monoxide. Like it is insane. And I was just like,
Jeez.
that is a weird setup. That is insane.
Well, I'm gonna have to. I mean, I will rewatch Waxwork over and over again, so I'll have to go back and check that and look at the background.
Yeah. They had a weird, like their version of Frankenstein was a weird one. It was less like, yeah, really,
Oh yeah, I forgot
really
Frankenstein.
mutated version. What else? That Jack the Ripper one. But
Mhm.
yeah, the zombie one was like one of the ones that they didn't spend a lot of time in, but it still, I would have loved to see more of it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's for all the horror ones that he was doing, except for like the weird, sexy one that we both of us were like, this feels odd, and this felt like it was like they pushed it this for this one to happen. When you could have picked it,
You
like chosen one of the other ones, the pod people. I agree with you. The pod people looked crazy.
you know, a fun fact
What?
that was his girlfriend at the time, Sarah Deborah Foreman.
And then they broke up.
So yeah, so part of the reason she wasn't in part
She wasn't.
two,
I
which they
did
got a
read that.
completely different.
Completely different actress because they broke up, and I just saw this like on the trivia, I think on IMBD for the second one, Waxwork 2. And it was, yeah, they had like a messy breakup, so she declined being in the second one. So they had to get a whole new actress.
But that's so weird though, because it's just like they didn't even get somebody that like with the same haircut
No,
or any
I know.
completely night and
Just
day. I was watching, but it is great in like that early '90s and '80s fashion where like they just recast a main character with a
yeah.
completely different person.
Remember
I
Back to the
kind of do
Future?
love that. Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
they're also in
yeah.
the second one, you're like, wait, different lady. Okay.
There was always a fan theory going on where he goes back in time and he changes the future, so it turns out to be Elizabeth Shue.
Yeah.
He like comes back
He
because he
went back
changed
and
the
changed
past.
his girlfriend.
Yeah, yeah. Was there any other ones that were like before we move on to part two?
Yeah, hold on. Let me pull up. I want to make sure I'm not missing any of them either.
Yeah, like after
18 monsters, like you said, like there's supposed to be 18 of them, but you don't necessarily see.
you get glimpses.
Oh, we have
There's
Dracula,
some
Mummy,
weird
Zombie.
ones
Oh,
in there.
Phantom of the Opera. Remember Phantom?
Oh, okay. Yeah, but like none of them look
Frankenstein.
as good as the ones that we spent time on.
Pirates? Oh yeah,
And like,
I guess.
I mean,
Some of
also
these are
was
just
that like
labeled
your
Monster 10 and Monster 14. Like I don't know what that means. But it's
like
more
was
so
that
like
your
being able to catch in the
sorry?
background when they're in the waxwork museum, like which ones are there.
Oh yeah, we do have like we have a circus one.
Mhm.
And we have like a Rosemary's Baby, which was like that baby was awful. Yeah. Oh, there is like a little bit of a voodoo one, which is like it didn't age great.
Yeah.
But yeah, like not even to mention the subgenre of like these teen high school movies, which the beginning of this movie. Let me find her a toy real quick.
Yeah. You're good. It's okay. She's a baby. Of course she doesn't want to be left alone.
All right, anything else on Waxwork 1 before we move on to Waxwork 2?
No, I mean, other than Waxwork is a gem, and I give it a good 8.5 out of 10. And I recommend. It's campy, it's fun, and it's a very easy watch, and you won't be disappointed. It is not, however, anything like House of Wax, which is I think great. They're two very separate things.
So yeah, there was like a separate thing where he might have gotten. I don't know if this was true or not, but it says that he was inspired by an old early black and white movie called Waxwork. I think it was like a German movie, which is very similar, which is kind of like three separate pieces of like tellings of like historic figures, and one of them was like Vlad the Impaler, and I don't remember who the other two were. Like this historical characters in history or something like that, which was like, oh yeah, but it's just an it's easy premise to run away with.
Easy.
But yeah, no, 100%.
I only mentioned that just because I am one person that made that confusion, or you know what I mean? Where I thought that possibly they were just closely related, and they're not. I mean, yes, they're both about wax museums, but very different movies.
Yeah, very different, but both classics actually now.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I love House of Wax. I like the remake and the original.
I don't know if I've ever watched it. I can't remember, but the
But I
remake was
adore the
actually really
remake.
good.
I think they did the remake really well.
And I don't know if it's one of those things that it just aged better than it did like when it came out. I don't know. I have to look it up to see how what people thought about it when it came out. But all right, but moving on to Waxwork 2. So after again with
Waxwork
Anthony
2 picks
Hickox.
up exactly where Waxwork 1 left off.
I
Give him
love
credit for
that.
that.
I love the next, like the moment after, the
Yes.
moment after the part one. It's just more continuation of the same story. I don't like a whole like, oh, a year later and we got to ramp it up again, because this kind of just goes balls to the wall, from the beginning. Um,
Mhm.
we pick up the night of the great battle between the town and the waxwork, you
Yes.
know and then as we are told by Sir Wilfred,
Sir.
that if any
Wilfred.
of these things get out, can contaminate the entire world. How? We have no idea. It's a waxwork, and it seems like they're pretty easily disposed of, because you have this small army of old men just getting rid of all these crazy. They battle a Dracula and they shoot him and he's dead. I don't know. It just seems whatever.
Yeah.
I'm reading too much.
You, you have to turn your brain off for this one, unfortunately. You just kind of do.
So the severed hand from the zombie exhibit breaks out and follows Sarah home and kills her stepdad. But then I'm just like, wasn't Sarah like? Weren't they all rich in the last? Weren't they all rich in the first one? And all
Yeah.
of a sudden she's poor.
Again, turn your brain off. You're right. That might be true. But you're right. Like, she's poor in this one, goes back to her apartment with her abusive stepdad. Classic is guys drunk yelling at her because she comes home late. Um, and then the severed hand murders him, and Sarah gets blamed for it. And now Sarah is going to, and possibly going to get the electric chair if she is found guilty.
Oh, is that what I missed that?
Yeah. Mark says it a few times where he's like, but if we don't get the evidence, you're going to get the electric chair. And then he's like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like,
So I
that
guess
is like,
they let her out on bail, I guess, because she's on
they let her out
trial,
on
but she
bail,
just gets
but she's facing the electric chair.
so she just gets to walk out, and then Mark is just like, well, we got to find evidence, and for some reason is really stuck on that, like he needs to find supernatural. Like if you came to the court and be like, this hand disposed of my stepfather, like, no, of course nobody's gonna
Nobody's
believe you.
believing you, but they do.
Like, come on.
That's why,
Like,
like,
see,
the
that's why,
world of
like, he's got.
Waxwork too, I'm like, nothing makes sense. No one followed the plot. We're just here for a good time. We're just here to jump around from world to world, have some laughs, maybe be spooked a little, but like no one's taking
Yeah.
anything seriously.
I'm like, really? Like, that's your, like, I understand you want to find evidence, but like,
Same thing is like we have to travel from world to world to find evidence so that you don't have to go to jail. But once we find the evidence, I'm gonna actually just go back to find you in wherever land you are, because that's what happens. They get, sorry,
back
ring
to
everyone. They get the
Cartaga.
evidence. They end up taking one of the zombie hands. They bring it back to court, because you guys, we've already touched on the fact that they jump from so many different universes, so many different worlds. At some point, they land in this medieval world where like most of the ending happens, but Edgar mentioned that like it just gets really messy at that point because you're this like final boss fight scene. You're traveling through different things, like you're going from Jack the Ripper, you're going to Dawn of the Dead, you're going into Nosferatu, Godzilla's in there.
Well, that was
Like,
Though that was really fun. That
it's
was
fun. No,
that
I
last
loved
the
it.
little montage at the yeah.
But back to
That was
like the
actually
plot of it is they find the evidence. She goes back, even though she doesn't want to, because Mark ends up staying because Mark has decided that he's going to be this like Time Lord, like he's Doctor Who or something. And he is like, I got to stay here and be a hero and go on an adventure, which is actually, you know what, great. If I were him, I'd probably be doing that too. I'd be like, you know what, fuck that. I'm going to stay here. This
oh
is way more fun.
oh no, he's called a time warrior chosen by God, but they don't mention that. It's just like you've been chosen by who? By
God.
him. God? Yeah, I'm
I
sure.
immediately was
Sure.
like, I just was, this guy thinks he's Doctor Who. Fine. Like, you're never going to be as good as the writers as for Doctor Who. So sorry. Anyway, Sarah gets sent back. She has her severed zombie hand, brings it to the court. Even the court's like, this is some crazy, wild evidence, but it's evidence and it proves that she didn't do it. She gets off. She's coming out of the
Yeah. In
courthouse.
what? In what?
This is
In
it.
what world is just like, yeah, here's the hand, and it's just
You're
like,
good.
oh,
Thumbs
okay, well,
up.
I guess
You're not getting the
it's not the
electric
same
chair
hand; it's a
today.
different hand altogether.
But it proves that it was a
It's not the
supernatural
same
hand.
hand.
It's not. It wasn't the same hand that
Yeah,
killed her
yeah,
stepdad.
like yeah, it's not that it has fingerprints. Like oh, here are the fingerprints, from the other hand. Like
They're just proving that something supernatural killed the stepdad. They're just proving that supernatural exists. I'm like, that's a wild route to take, you guys.
better
Anyway,
yet,
she wins.
better yet. Look, all right, I'll one up you. All right, knowing that she can't find evidence to clear her name, she goes into this supernatural world to whatever to live her life because she can't go back to her original life because she's basically got to get convicted for
Murder.
the
I just
untimely
would have
demise of
stayed.
her father, right?
I just would have
You just want to
stayed.
say, right? Because guess what? What does she do anyway? At the end of the
Went back.
movie, she just
Went back.
doesn't matter. So the whole clearing your name thing doesn't even matter. Like you just
She just,
all of a sudden you care about tying up loose ends.
no. I don't get it either because Mark sends her this package with the looking glass, inviting her back. And she takes it. She goes back. That's how the movie ends. But
Speaking of, that's a Back to the Future blatant ripoff.
100%.
We are the world's oldest post office. We have this package for you. We told you to deliver it on this date.
But also, that world isn't real, right? It wasn't never real. The Cartolin or whatever, it never existed.
Cartaga
So
thing. No, I think it's they say it's like a dimension outside of it's like a side dimension or like an alternative dimension where I don't know everything
okay,
exists.
well,
Which this also doesn't make any sense because it's just like they say lost in time, but they're going through all these movie genres. So like they're trying to say like
exactly.
every movie actually exists.
Every movie
Like
exists in the other. It just, again, this is why I said you have to just turn your brain off and just enjoy how fun it is. The
it's
fact that you're
fun.
like, oh
It
look,
is fun.
Godzilla. Oh look, Nosferatu. Like, oh look, Jack the Ripper. Because
Immediately like what
there's no
like once
plot.
it no what there is no plot. That's the name.
There's no plot.
There is no I mean kinda, yeah, actually. You're not wrong. There
Sarah
is
also
no plot.
forgets who Sarah also forgets who she is every single time they jump into a new world, which started to annoy me after like the fourth time. Mark is like, "You are Sarah," and she's like, "Oh,
You are
I am." I'm like, because every single time they pop to a new world, they're the people in the world, which I get and I enjoy. But every single time, Mark had to tell Sarah like who she was because Sarah was so
it's
out
kind
of
of
it.
silly. It's kind of silly, yeah, because you're just like you can't remember. Like I'm here to tell you. Well, why does Mark get to remember?
Yeah, I'm like, why does he? Because he's like this time god, warrior, whatever they
What?
call him.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You already ran it down, but let's just do a little refresher, right? So they go back to Wilfred's mansion after she gets out on bail, and then Wilfred coincidentally had already filmed his will after the previous to the events of the big battle of part one. saying that like I've left all my artifacts to you, and if you should ever need anything, gotta go down there or whatever. And then they find does he? I think he explains most of the stuff for the movie, and then they find the time compass, the timekeepers. Right, I wrote it down.
Looking
It
Glass.
was the
I believe
stupidest
it's supposed to
name.
be Alice in Wonderland's Looking Glass, if I'm correct.
Yeah, it's the time door opener. Catchy title.
Hey, Edgar, do you have that time door opener? I need
I
to
can't find it.
go
I can't. No, I left it here
to
somewhere.
Jack the Ripper. Gotta go. Can't find my time door opener. Sounds like garage door opener. Like
Yeah,
garage
the
door
whole like
opener.
the whole through the looking glass thing, like was like, all right, so Wilfred, like Wilfred leaves me a will, detailing that he left me all these artifacts and that I was the keeper of them, and whatnot and so forth. But then you leave me a cryptic message at the end of it to find it. So like, here's all the stuff, but you're gonna have to go look for it. Like, really, dude?
Yeah.
Sorry, we're just
No, but I
like,
get it. It's like you couldn't have just said like, here it is.
yeah, so the whole like, oh, it's a quote from Alice in Wonderland through the looking glass. So I'm just
And they
like,
have to go to the
okay, cool. What is
chessboard to find the Alice in Wonderland chess piece, and then that signifies because she's holding like the looking glass, and then they see the looking glass within the room. I'm like, that is too fucking complicated. Sorry, Laura. I just swore. I know she's in the room with you, but
no, she's right here, but she can't hear you. And that's what I'm trying to
okay.
like tone down like all my horror talk, but like yeah. But it was
Like,
yeah.
dude,
So then
Sir Wilfred, just
like you said,
give me the thing.
yeah, give me and not to mention he shows up again in bird form and the saying that he had met his grandfather, played by David Carradine, who's just like, "Yes, we're Time Warriors now, and it can only help you once more." And I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah, he shows up.
really, really jumping the shark here."
Yeah, Raven form, right? Edgar Allan Poe. Is that the
I
reference we're supposed
guess,
to get
sure.
there?
Why not? Yeah,
Why not at this
let's just
point?
do all of them.
Every single, let's just barf into it. Lit.
So then, all right. So you had already run down they go through the mirror and they end up in. I mean, for lack of a better term, would be Frankenstein's diorama or
Yeah,
Frankenstein's
the first one
world.
is Frankenstein's monster.
And Frankenstein looks great, or Frankenstein monster looks great, amazing. The guy who plays
Fantastic.
Victor Van Helsing, or not Van Helsing, Victor Frankenstein did a pretty good job. The next one after that, I think is Alien. It's just
No,
like I
is
said,
the
it
second
just
one?
did.
Is the second one the haunting? Is the second one with Bruce Campbell?
I think they get separated again.
She is
Oh,
an alien, and then he is in the haunting or with Bruce Campbell. Two, I just also want to say 5 stars, Bruce Campbell. His comedic timing was fantastic, as always. He delivered a very lovely comedic horror performance, and he delivers one of my favorite lines from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And if you know it, you know it. Because in this scene, Bruce Campbell completely has his chest out, rib cage and all, and like is just bit after bit getting like tossed salt on him and vinegar, and is playing the bit so well. And at the end, he just goes, "What? It's only a flesh wound." 5 stars.
is that what
5 stars. So that's why I was like, you know what? I do like this movie. I will take the Bruce Campbell bit any day. He was great.
No, I love the addition. Like, all right, the only thing that I could give it the benefit of the doubt is like maybe he can't go back to the waxwork, or for some reason he wants to continue the story of Mark and Sarah after part one, right? So you can't go back to the waxwork because the wax burned down and so did all the artifacts. So there's no reasoning for the waxwork to exist essentially. So you have to write around it. I mean, I guess, but that never stopped us. That never
Never
stopped any
stopped
horror
anyone.
movie for coming up for any.
Ah. No, it burns down for
Yeah.
the first one, and then the second one it gets rebuilt in a different town or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just yeah, evil.
Someone
Yeah, it
gets
just
the
comes back. Evil
artifacts,
never dies. Boom.
reopens it. All good. We continue this crazy
Boom.
story.
100%.
Continue Sarah and Mark's story for some reason.
Yeah. Did you catch the Drew Barrymore cameo?
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, is that Drew Barrymore?
Me too. I did it at first. I was like, Drew Barrymore. So I mean, there's some names in this. Maybe at the time they weren't
So random.
as notable as they are now, but yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what? So then we run. So yeah, we do
Yeah.
and
So
then when they start doing the alien one, I'm just like, damn, this is just like they're all good ripoffs. Like
yeah,
that's what's just like so weird. Like, yeah, like let's stay in these, then you make up your own thing with
it honestly made me want to like turn on
Cartania.
Alien. I was like, I could just totally watch Alien right now.
Yeah.
But I wasn't mad at it. It was fun. And then after that is when they go to like the medieval Carthagena, whatever it's called. I have no idea.
Yeah, and then not to mention that like when they first get there, there's like it is like a bit too long on that scene, and they're just like being surrounded by these horses, and it goes on for like 30 or 40 seconds of them just being surrounded by horses with this really weird music, and I'm just like, you could have just edited that down real quick. Like we don't need to be here. Yeah.
Did
And
you
then he
catch?
gets another sword from his grandfather,
Yes, that's true. That's great
coincidentally, like he did in part one.
to fight. Yeah.
And then there's like this whole yeah, then this whole thing unravels where he has to fight the the evil succubus was a scarabus, you know, and his horde of evildoers who are trying to take over the kingdom with a plot to replace the king. Which, if you're going to replace the king, you think you wouldn't know that he had a crest on his key, whatever. But what have you? Well, turn off the brain. We're turn off the
Turn your
brain.
brain off.
But
What did you think about the creepy panther, which I had to look up that it was in fact a panther and not like a werewolf, which is what I thought it was at first.
it was all right.
It scared me. I don't know why. I just did not like the face. I was like, this bothers me a little bit. And I feel like that would have been something that would have like traumatized me if I saw this movie a little too young. Like if I actually would have seen it around the same time I saw Waxwork. But yeah, I didn't enjoy that like panther thing. I don't know why. I just there's something about the face.
Like it was too creepy.
Yeah, it just kind of bugged me. And I guess that's like not bad. It's I mean a horror movie or whatever, so I guess things are supposed to be creepy in some senses. Or maybe it was just like the dimensions of it and then it also being like this human panther creation. Again, did not know it was a
Yeah, a
panther
little.
until I looked it up because I didn't know what the creature was. I was like, what is that supposed to be? And then when I looked it up, I was like, oh, it's a panther.
Oh, and not to mention that we also had to have like a sexy scene in this one too. Well, we're introduced to Scarabus with the sexy scene, and we're just like, oh, here we go again. This looks
Yeah.
like the exact same shot
The
from the
exact
other
same
movie.
thing. Yeah. You're like, okay.
You know, our
And they're
bad
not
guys
even
got to
doing
be a
anything like outrageous.
Waxwork 2 is a decent watch. Just give it one go around. That's all you need.
Give it one go around, but turn your brain off. Like, just turn your brain off, jump into it, knowing you're going to have a good time, but don't try to like figure out the plot like there because it doesn't exist. It's a ripoff of so many other movies, but it's done well and it's fun. So
Well,
for
that's
that
like
I
that's
would give it
part of
like a
like that.
6.5.
Like that's the point. You know, like that should be the point. The point should be that you're ripping up all these movies, and like you said, you should have known what was working for you. You should have just stayed there and make that work,
Waxwork was
right?
successful. Like it was a successful movie. And quite frankly, I think someone should bring it back. Someone should be bringing back
I mean, only
Waxwork.
if they're gonna do.
Correct. Only if they're going to do it well.
All
But
right, I
it's
think
like
we got to wrap it up because
all right.
she's becoming restless.
No worries. So I'm just
All right,
we're
guys.
ending it. I'm saying give it a good watch. It's fun. Watch it a go one time around. 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give Waxwork. Knowing what
That's
I know
2.
now,
Waxwork 1 8.
it's a 5.5 out of 5. 5.5 out of 10 severed hands for Waxwork. It's just like it's good. It's not going to change your life, but it's just a fun, enjoyable watch. 100%.
Exactly. Okay, we gotta end it. Baby is getting a little antsy, and Edgar has got to go be dad. It's dad time.
Yeah, she's crawling around. She's trying to touch all the things she's not supposed to.
All
All right.
right. Bye,
All right.
everyone.
Bye. Have a good one. Bye.